We're doing a speed run. Have you been facing just any amethyst deck? They are going crazy. They've had it too good. This freaking genie, man. Holy, this card is broken. But anyways, have you been facing a bunch of amethyst players? Well, then have I got a deck that's kind of able to counter them, but also not really, and also it's more for fun. But we have a deck, and it's pretty cool. Welcome to the Princess Deck Guide. I'm gonna be your host, that Platypus. Please hit subscribe and like before we get right into it. Alright, other than sounding like I'm trying to sell you snake oil, this deck is actually pretty good. So it won't directly counter Amethyst for you. It is just sort of a solid deck, I want to say, because we have more support for Princess in set 6 and Queen. Sorry, this isn't strictly Princess because Queen Sensor Core works on Queens and Princess characters, but this deck is a really solid mid-range option for those of you who do not want to play Amethyst but also don't want to play necessarily like a less optimal deck, for lack of a better term. As with any tribal deck, this deck has honestly very minimal support for having queen and princess characters. The reason why it's mainly queen and princess characters is actually because of Queen Sensor Core's second text line. Pay 2, exert this card, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a princess or queen character, put it into your hand, otherwise put it on top of your deck. So the reason why this is good is because there's a lot of card draw in this deck. And the cards themselves are actually fairly decent by themselves, right? Like Mulan Injured Soldier, if you have support for her in the form of Snow White, Rapunzel Gifted with Healing, Julieta Madrigal, she's actually a very strong character. Having a 2/3 with 1 lore on turn 1 is good. Just point blank, it's just a solid investment. The problem with the princess deck is that other than Queen Sensor Core, you don't really get too much value out of running only princess characters. So you need to make sure that the princess characters you're running are good, right? And I do believe the deck has finally pushed itself to that bracket of fun but can win a set championships if you play it correctly. I make that claim very loosely. I believe a lot of decks are capable of that, but the fact that you're effectively okay, let's start with healing in Julieta Madrigal and Rapunzel is really good. What can often happen when you heal a character with them is that your character can then trade off against another one of your opponent's characters, giving you more card advantage on top of the draw you are getting from them. They're just really solid value engines. Rapunzel Gifted with Healing, obviously being one of the strongest cards in the game, having the ability to draw 3 cards off of the condition that your character has 3 damage on them is very strong. Like, we don't even often reach that 3 damage mark with this deck. I love using the Royal Weeb, if you couldn't tell in my videos yet, but even just being able to draw 2 off of her is really good. Now, if you're looking for your first competitive deck, I almost don't mind recommending this if you want to invest in Rapunzel and whatchamacallit, Tiana. Maybe wait for Tiana's price to go down a bit more. She's not one of the top 10 greatest legendaries of all time. She's good into specific decks, but she has pushed this deck from for fun tier to actually serious threat tier, because now you have like a very solid curve where before your turn 3 was just lacking. There weren't that many good princess or queen characters that existed on turn 3. But now with the new Tiana, you just sort of, you kind of have it. And then Namari from set 4 is also very good in this deck because you have the Queen Shift line. The reason why this deck doesn't keel over to Amethyst is because of the Queen commanding presence. Having the Queen in a deck just can let you value out your opponent so hard. And she's not the only good card in here because we also have Vanellope von Schweetz. Her ability is actually more relevant than usual with the ability to, whenever you play another princess character, all opposing characters get -1 until the start of your next turn. She lets you either hit the gas pedal and quest aggressively with your princess characters, or hit the I need to kill off all of my opponent's characters as fast as possible pedal. So yeah, that's it. The big combos in this deck, of course, there's the queen shift line where you take the rush queen, you potentially kill off one of their characters, and then you shift her into Queen of Hearts sensing weakness. You'll have a 1-drop established before, so you'll be able to draw a character off of her. You have obviously Julieta Madrigal, Rapunzel gifted with healing, both just solid heal draw characters. You have Invited to the Ball. We are running 52 characters, so Invited to the Ball is very unlikely to brick. And then you have Mulan Elite Archer, which is where you bully Amethyst players. Amethyst, it depends on the list. You're able to usually slow down Hyper Aggro, Amethyst, Emerald, Amethyst, Amber, what have you, with all of your quality 1-drops and your ability to curve out with Queen and then Julieta, Namari, etc. So you're able to typically stall until the turn 5 shift with Mulan, and she's really good into the mid-range matchup because, of course, whenever this character deals damage to another character in a challenge, deal the same amount of damage to up to 2 other chosen characters. That is an insane effect, even if she were only a 2/6, but because if you shift her, she gets +3, you can just board wipe. Like, she is so good. Basically treat her like a better grab your swords that's repeatable effectively. If you get the game stalled out long enough and you get out to Mulan, you often just win the game on the spot. And honestly, I think that's it. There's not much else to talk about this deck other than the fact that the introduction of Tiana, restaurant owner, has made it so the deck is a lot more consistent with its game plans of just being a mid-range deck that's trying to be annoying for your opponent and outvaluing them. Now, do I think this is the best version of Amber Ruby? Absolutely not. But is it fun to just play out all of the princess and queen characters and beat up your opponent with it? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, just a quick for fun deck today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, morning, night, evening, afternoon, and whatever. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye.